What is up, beautiful people? It's Zen from the Journey Into, and in this video, I'm just going to share a little bit of a rant. I actually just finished doing it's a practice I used to do way back in the day. I'd have to say when I was back in grade 11 and 12, going through the whole philosophy and spiritual journey and just getting in tune with myself. And I just went through, I went back to writing, right? Just physical handwriting. And what I used to do back then was if I wanted to connect with my higher self, I would actually just put pen to paper, ask a question, and just start writing. And this is a practice that I'm going to share with you, but I'm going to also share with you some of my insights. So if you're ready for this, yeah, people come, yeah, people go. Let's go. Now, I don't know where you are, and I'm not putting any SEO, so random people are going to watch this because I really have a strong belief that everything happens for a reason. Now, when I say that, it actually goes back into everything happens for a reason based on what your intentions are, right? A lot of us, now I'm going to just spew all these words out. Some of it may not make any sense. Some of it will probably make sense down the road. But I had an epiphany while doing my flow writing. Now when I say flow writing, it's when I just connect and just let my hand go to paper and just write it through. This was a practice that I honestly forget the source of it. But back in the day when I was starting my spiritual journey, I read books from Sylvia Browne. A lot of people, I remember telling a colleague that, and he laughed at me when I told him this, but Sylvia Browne had a lot of insight. I know a lot of people, like there's a lot of things that go around Sylvia Browne. If you haven't heard of Sylvia Browne, she has now passed on to the next life, and she was a spiritual medium. Now, there's a lot of like spiritual mediums out there where a lot of it is just hocus pocus really stuff. They're just trying to get your money, a lot of charlatans and all that. But there are really great now spiritual gurus out there that I would highly recommend listening to. One of them is being Sadhguru, right? He is now someone that I look at too when it just comes to just more of a spiritual inner engineering. But back in the day when I first started, it was with Sylvia Browne, right? Her concepts, her ideas with the life and life after, spiritual angels, a lot of reincarnation, past lives, all that kind of stuff. I studied that hard. When I say studied, I was obsessed on it, and I just loved it. Now I don't remember the story or why I got into it, but actually I can kind of pinpoint it now. It was when I was in philosophy, right? So in 2004, my grade 12th year of high school, I took a philosophy course, and in that course, there's a lot of different stories, right? The philosophers, the philosophical mind, right? I think philosophy as a term, and I might be incorrect. I'm just doing it from hindsight or just from memory, from what I recall. I haven't done any research for this video. That's what a rant usually is. But from what I recall, philosophy is the search of wisdom, right? And what wisdom is, the best way that I can explain it, it's really just, a lot of people are going to say different things when it comes to wisdom, right? It's the applied knowledge. Knowledge is nothing unless you put it into action. But wisdom is really just having more of I believe, a understanding of who you are as a human being. That's what I always thought wisdom was, right? Because the more that you can actually get closer and connected with who you are as a person, there's really nothing that will stop you from being who you are in life, right? When you understand your true identity and your true purpose, there's really nothing that can stop you, especially since you are alive now, right? So where was I going with this? I don't really know where I was going with that. But yeah, the story that actually brought me into the whole, wow, there's a lot of different ways to look at life was I think it's Plato's Allegory of the Cave. And if you haven't heard of that one, check it out on Google. They do great synopsis of it. But my brief take on it was basically, imagine yourself in a cave, right? You were born into a cave, right? And ever since you were born in this cave, that's all you've ever known, right? And then while you were in that cave, all you've ever known was just, actually, I kind of screwed it all up. I'm going to start off again, because the idea behind the allegory of the cave was basically that, imagine yourself as a person chained up to the walls of a cave, right? And all you've ever known was, let's say if all you've ever known was this wall, okay? And you can't turn yourself back or forth, right? All you ever had was just yourself, and for some reason, this is all you can do, okay? You can only just stare at a wall all your life, right? But there's a lot of stuff happening behind you that you don't know, right? And even if you go this far, you can't really see except for other people down your line side over here and other people down your line side over here, but you can't see anything behind you. But there's a whole world that's happening behind you, right? There's people working, there's like fire, there's all this stuff, and that fire produces what they call shadows. And then in this wall, you see the shadows of everything that's happening. So all you've ever known in your life were just shadows of people that you don't even know what they are, just shadows just walking along, right? So imagine you put yourself in that state where if all you've ever known was just a wall and shadows happening and you can't even see what's happening behind you, and then for some reason you break free from those chains and you actually are able to now look behind you and you see this whole different world, that is just having a new experience, having a new reality. It also becomes crazy exciting, right? Now, while everybody is still chained up, you've broken free, and now you're looking at this world and you're like, whoa, fire, whoa. There's like mechanisms, there's carts, there's work, there's vehicles, there's all this stuff that's happening behind you, and you're going around telling people about it. Man, look, there's fire. Like, you don't even know what fire is, right? But you're saying, whoa, there's like this blah, 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 blah. And you're trying to put words into it, right? And then you're trying to explain it to everybody around you, but now they don't know what's happening. They think you're crazy, but you can see it with your own eyes, right? And then once you start going through it, and then you go through, let's say, the workers, and then you exit the cave, right? Because you're in a cave, and now you're just opened up to this whole new possibility of the world. Green grass, trees, animals, right? And then for some reason you learn how to speak English or how to be able to communicate in a language, in any kind of language, whatever it may be. And now you're communicating with all the people outside, right? Now, once you're out there, now you can fluently talk with people and you can communicate in any kind of language, whatever you want. When you come back into the cave and you start talking in a language that is so different from what everybody else has known, people will start thinking you're crazy. But the reality is that there is a whole world out there that just needs exploring. That was a story that really, I guess, made me realize that there's so much more to this world than just our physical self. And from that point on, that whole world that I was exploring was the internal world, right? Because thinking of it right now, the life that we live, a lot of us, and this is a sad truth, that a lot of us are actually living it subconsciously. Meaning that we're just doing the things that we were taught to do because that is all we've ever known, right? The wall, the shadows, that's all that we've ever known. Going to school, getting good grades, getting a good job, and then your life is set. That's all that at least I've ever known, right? But the truth is that there are people out there that know so much more, know other ways of creating income, knows other ways of living, right? And I tie that in, I tie spirituality with business, and ultimately I would like to become I am becoming a spiritual entrepreneur, because at the end of the day, there's a world out there where you can actually have a win-win-win, right? where if you give the positive intention to helping somebody else, right, there's a win-win-win situation out there. I can help someone, that person benefits, I'll benefit, and we put a positive and goodwill of intention into the marketplace. But my marketplace isn't just business, isn't just brick and mortar, isn't just marketing. My marketplace is the global and universal consciousness, right? And that's what I actually started. See, putting it into words is difficult, because when you get into this flow state, you're almost tapping into a source that's subconsciously there. What do I mean? It's kind of like the story that you've lived, the story that you've gone through, the story that brought you into this video is a series of actions and beliefs that you've done beforehand that brings you to this particular spot. And what I want to share with you at this particular moment is that you are the universe experiencing itself. That is going to sound like a lot of, what do you mean? Because I remember it being so, like, there was a resonance with it. Theoretically, I can understand it. But experientially, how do you experience it? Right? And the only way that I can really kind of bring it down is, if you've heard of The Secret, the Law of Attraction, right? They talk about a lot of things there, but ultimately, they went on to this whole spiel of the whole I am. And that was also another kind of epiphany moment for me. The I am, right? Understanding that the I am is what becomes. But then I just started recently getting into something a little bit more of what they call the reality transurfing. And over there, they started to actually break it down. And it kind of actually gave me this whole aha moment where it goes back down to this, okay? This is the concept. I don't know how long we're into this movie, but this is the concept right now. We've got to learn how to be the observer and the experiencer at the same time. The body that we have, right? The body that we have is just an accumulation of all the subconscious things, of all the things that we've actually gathered in this world. The foods that we've eaten develops the body that we have. The thoughts that we've ingested creates the belief system that we are. But even the belief system and the body that we've manifested is not who your true identity is. Because your true identity is my identity. Our whole true identity is the universal consciousness. Okay? Take it for just more of an imagination, or even just get into the thought frame. If you can imagine this, that you are the universe, right? And the whole ocean of life, we, you, and me are just a speck of this universal consciousness that is infinite, that holds all the experiences in this world. And this reality that we're living through is a manifestation of this universal consciousness. And the beauty of being a human being in this world right now is that we have the ability to actually manifest and create our own desires and our own attentions. Think of a time when you really wanted something bad enough and you got it. Why was that possible? Now think of a time when you really didn't want something and you still got it. Why was that possible? Because the internal identity, your internal reality, is what dictates your external experience. Everything that we're experiencing externally is a reflection of what's happening inside. There's a truth to what the law of attraction says, and you might have also experienced, but I've also experienced it, when you say, oh man, I don't want to get into that car accident. I don't want to get into that car accident. I don't want to get into that car accident. Guess what happens? You get into that car accident. Why? And it's because the universe is neutral. This experience that we're having is neutral. Anything that you do is neutral, right? We actually just give the positive or negative connotation to it. That's where we learn how to navigate through this life. But even if you say, I don't want this thing, this action, this desire, this is the intention that's going to manifest into your reality. That's why even just having the small framework of just speaking in the positive, I want to be healthy, right? Even if you say, oh man, I want to lose weight, right? Losing weight, that whole weight doesn't really mean anything. I want to become healthier, right? I want to become more fit. I want to be more active. Those are, I'm not sure if you can feel that difference, but man, there's a difference between saying I don't want to be fat versus I want to be healthier. When you focus on I don't want to be fat, the last word that you're saying is fat. So anything that the universal consciousness knows about being fat, we actually become. Even though you don't want it, even though you don't want it, the last intention is being fat, right? So if there's something that you want, if you've been struggling with anything, think of the positive, think what you want to become. And that's what we actually are doing here. We're actually in the process of becoming. So if you want to become more healthy, so if you're struggling with being fat, right? I've struggled being fat. Like I used to be a very, very chunky guy. But internally, I've internalized I'm becoming more and more healthier each and every single day. I'm becoming more and more active each and every single day. I'm becoming more and more energized with every breath that I take. Notice the difference of that story that I tell myself versus I don't want to be fat, right? I don't know how long we're in this video, but like I said, it's a rant, right? So understanding that portion of how to be able to tell yourself the story, that internalize, becoming the external, always speaking the positive, is huge. Yeah. And at the end of the day, and I think I'm going to be closing it off with this, is that really, really, really take home the fact that we are the universe experiencing itself. At first, it might resonate with you somehow, but in order to actually understand it, you've got to be able to experience it. And one of the best exercises, and here's an action thought that I'd like to leave with you, is take a pen, take a paper, ask yourself a question, answer it. No research. Don't do anything yet. Because then you'll start realizing that all the answers, you are part of the universal consciousness. The answer is out there. We already have access to it. The internet is just a really cool way to get it fast. But even faster is by asking yourself. Right? And then all these things that you actually come up with and you're writing, you might not even, sometimes you might not even actually have eligible writing. but it will make sense to you. So I encourage you, grab a pen, grab a paper. If there's anything that you're struggling with, ask the question and just start writing out the answers. And don't put too much thought into it, because one thing, and until we get to that level, one thing that we've got to really understand is that the only way into the subconscious is through the conscious mind. So once you become aware of things that you didn't know, now you have an ability to become able to control it, right? And that's how we're going to be on our way to controlling and manifesting the reality that we absolutely deserve, desire, and intend to share. Yeah. That was a big rant. I don't even know what half the stuff I said. but at the end of the day, I hope you found some value into it. I hope this was more for anybody who's going to watch it. And this is really for part of my journaling, right? Because at the end of the day, I wanted to see where, when I look back a year from now, if what I'm saying will manifest. No, not if, like how I'm saying manifests with what I'm doing. Yeah. So if you got this far, a lot of it probably doesn't make any sense. You don't have to watch this video again, but what I would highly suggest is just start off now, pick up a pen and paper, and just connect with yourself. Connect with your higher being, connect with the universal consciousness, connect with each other, because the answers are out there. You already know where it is. Now you just got to bring it into your conscious mind. All right, guys. Love you. I got to get down to work. I'm still working on the OFA challenge and the free traffic bootcamp from Legendary Marketer. And that's even like a whole side rant on itself, because I've started to realize that success does leave clues, and they're all the same. Right? And if you just model people who are successful, guess what? You're going to get exactly what they've got. So that's all for now. Love you guys. Hope you have a great and fantastic day. Until next time, one love. Peace.